Are we back? Ah, so close. Almost made it. So close.
Soka. Off we go. We did. Soka. We alive.
We did. We alive.
Whatever, what can I say? We just gently turned it. I was watching. I detected no flex in that cable whatsoever, and it still went down.
Yeah.
What's the sensitive point about this?
It's just trouble.
We could, we could switch to Wi-Fi, but then...
Then you have Wi-Fi issues too. Loose.
We have a little bit of show and tell. I know we can show.
The big box yesterday? Or?
No, the big box. That's just standard stuff for the shop. There's nothing special about those. But I got a couple of smaller things. Actually, there's one that might be coming today in the post that will really be fun, but it may not get here. It's not Takubin. Takubin comes when around.
Usually 9:90.
It comes overnight. Yeah. But this is coming by post, which they don't usually come at that time of day. So. But we got a couple of things yesterday. One quite large print, which I know I had to bid more than I wanted to, but it was a really, really, really nice, rare one. And actually, it's an auction story last night. You know those triptychs we have, the inexpensive triptychs, the ones that are sort of smaller than Oban size.
Yeah.
I learned something about those yesterday. They're a group of prints that are made in, I thought, the early 1980s.
Okay.
In fact, it was Kajikawa Workshop, and I actually saw some of them being printed. Sometime when I was here in the mid-1980s.
Right.
And they're a set of triptychs. There was 20 of them published in the set. So it's a set of 60 prints, which is 20 triptychs, three each. And I had always thought that the Kajikawa Workshop was responsible for publishing them. Last night on Yahoo Auctions, there was an auction for the same prints, which I've seen before, but these were magnificent. The Kajikawa Workshop ones are a little bit rough. They're not so nice. They're just off, blow it out the door, let's get rid of it, and blah, 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 blah. So there's no respect for them. But the ones last night on the auction were magnificently printed. And there was different publishers' information with them. And it turns out that I had never known about this. Some other publisher did them first, published them as a very super high quality edition, and then he must have sold off the blocks to Kajikawa-san.
So they're the same blocks that...
Yeah, and they just published cheaply.
Totally
so Kajikawa-san must have just bought the blocks from these guys and then just said, let's blow these out the door and let's make some money out of it. And I hadn't known that there was a level above the Kajikawa edition. And it was on auction last night. And I'm like, oh my God, look at that. I hadn't known about this. I am going to try and scoop these. And somebody bid whatever, $100, $200, $300. I got in there, jumped in. I thought, when it was about 3 or 4, I thought, look, I'm just going to blow this out the door. I bid $800 on it. Bang. I thought, there it is. Mine.
For how much? I mean, for how many prints?
60 prints.
60 prints, okay.
So my bid survived for about 15 seconds.
Oh my God.
Somebody went over, and then it went up and up and up, and I dropped out.
Yeah.
Not soon after that. It went for $2,500 last night.
Oh,
and it took them about an hour. 2 guys, and they did it in an amateur way. They tried to bid 1,000 yen higher, 1,000 yen higher, then another 1,000 yen higher. One guy put it up by like 500 yen. And what's going on here? It's like
I don't really want to pay more, but I really want the set.
Like, an auction is going for $1,500,013, and somebody bids $1,500,015. That's the way it went last night, up and up and up and up. It was pointless. And I gave up watching it. I just eventually got back to my other work and just at the end of it all looked to see what it went for. So it was too bad. But it's interesting now that I know that set exists, I'm going to keep an eye out for it. I had no idea that there was such a thing.
Yeah.
So now that auction, that set does come up sometimes. So maybe I've missed it before, not knowing that there is a different version of this thing. So, but now that I've learned about this, I am going to keep my eyes open for it.
$2,500.
For 1970 era reproductions, which is not normally what you pay for those things.
Right. They were so nicely done.
They were beautifully done. Okay, where to do next? Which corner? Let's just attack some of this stuff.
What color is this block?
This is going to be level. I know. Can you pop up the original again, where it says 2019 series or something like that? I don't know.
There.
on a level 1, this is going to be A plus B, A plus B plus C, A, B, C, D. Level 1 is the area below the cone, not the light. You see, the light itself actually is pure bright white. That's the paper.
Yeah.
Then below the cone is level 1.
Okay.
Then above that, you can see beside the cone, there's the lowest level of cherry blossoms, and in here, the lightest level. That's level 2.
Okay.
Level 3 is the one that you see here as probably purple.
Yeah.
And then level 4 is the one that's actually red. You see in the cherry blossoms, there's little red curly marks. That's the one here. But that's also, it's on top of the shrine and the bottom road and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's on the shrine roof. You'll see it there.
Okay.
And this is going to be a bit of a problem because to make it that light on the shrine roof and yet that dark on the curlies, this works in Photoshop. But it never comes out the same in real life here. Yeah. It doesn't even look the same there, right? You see that? The one that looks like pale orange on the shrine roof and then the light pole. Yeah. This is the block that also has the curlies.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks. Okay. People are quiet.
So good. There's no conversation. Okay, Joe, I'll just...
Except Jed asking, did I do something hard on the design? But
well,
it was limiting the number of blocks.
This is the way we are doing this series this year, of course. We're combining color and lines. I didn't say that as a complaint. I just said as a description, describing how we're doing this. Is Jitsan still there? I guess I know. I saw that. I got an email this morning from his mailing list. About the new Jiggly print he's published. And I was a bit surprised to find that, not that the design is there, but that Jed's using the actual real names of the characters from the Star Wars franchise. He said, I forgot what he said. He said, I got a new Yoda print this morning, and I thought, using the design is one level of danger. How much you can use somebody's thing parodying. But to use the actual trademark names of the characters, that's something we've never done here in our Ukiyo Hero series. Whatever I can say this internally, we might say, oh, we're almost out of the Mario print. We say this internally, but we don't publish a Mario print. We publish a print we call Rickshaw Cart. So I was a bit surprised to see Jed this morning putting out the information flyer using the actual names of the characters.
I haven't read the email, so I didn't see it, but... Ken from USA, I don't know if you're still here, but I think we already, just a few minutes ago, answered your question about color blocks having overlapping colors, and how do you decide how much to overlap them, and without key lines through the whole image, how do you establish the boundaries of the colors? That's what we were just talking about.
Right now, exactly. This is one of the color blocks, and it has lines that establish the boundaries for another color block later on. So I have to carve this one first and print it onto the transfer sheet.
Got it.
And sometimes this gets quite complicated. You can't carve C till you've carved B, you can't carve B till you've carved A, but you can't carve A till you've carved D, and you can't carve D till you've carved C. When it's going around in a vicious circle, sometimes it doesn't quite work. Now, for a beginner, I would not recommend trying one like this. For a beginner, either just flat colors or a simple key line which has colors inside the lines, to try and keep your head straight on what's going on. Because it gets kind of confusing real fast when you do it this way. So.
Yeah, carving a block set for those large Hasui or Yoshida prints must have been difficult.
It's insane. But it's not a question of difficult. Remember, we see them at the moment as finished prints. But in the Yoshida field, not so much Hasui, because Hasui sometimes painted a watercolor painting and then over the workshop, and they reproduced it. They replicated the watercolor painting. That's not how the Yoshidas worked. And I saw them. I saw Toshi doing it this way. He started with a sketch, a line drawing, because the Yoshida prints mostly have some kind of line drawing at the base, even though it's a metal block. They start with their line drawing that has a large part of the image. Then they cut 3 or 4 color blocks that establish some base tones on it. And then they print it. And then on top of that, he grabs his brush and starts drawing stuff on top of a partially printed one. Let's see, let's try this. Oops, that didn't work. Let's try this. Oh, what if we painted in some color? Oh, that looks good. He'd then have Hamano-san. Okay, Hamano-san, carve this. And Hamano-san would carve a block for that one with 1 or 2 or 3 steps. And then back to Komatsu-san, who would then print it up again. And then they would redo step by step by step until they, at some point they said, okay, looks like we're done, let's cut and run.
Yeah.
So it wasn't created in finished format the way that the Hasui prints were as watercolor paintings. Okay. They built them step by step by step.
Interesting.
We don't really have that flexibility. Jed's over there, we're here, we're a reproductive workshop. You know, if Jed was living here and was running by the workshop every couple of days, we could sort of do it that way. We'd carve a partial set of blocks, Jed would draw on top of it, play with different ideas, we'd cut another couple of blocks and go from there. And the print would be built from the ground up as a woodblock print, rather than being something done Hasui style as a watercolor, or Jed style as a Photoshop, and then saying, okay guys, this is what I want, build it please.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, Jed, why don't you live in the shop? Thanks, Caesar.
Well, you might just as well ask Dave, why doesn't Dave move to Utah? Yeah. Same question, whatever. So. It's also a question of turnaround time. Those things take a lot of time to turn around when you're doing it that way. So, and it's also wasted effort. You might carve a couple of blocks on that thing. I said it there as the way that works perfectly. But it might be a carved block B, block C, block D, try it, and then carve block E. No, actually, we really don't need block B, let's toss it out. It's not a single linear process from beginning to end. It's a process of experimentation. Yeah. And the more experience you get at it, the more used to it, then of course you get closer to your finished ones from the beginning. And bit by bit over the years, you get lots of experience. And the Yoshida family had literally generations of experience at doing that. Yeah. And that's gone now, because the son now, Tsukasa-san, doesn't have that experience. He saw his dad do it, but those craftsmen are gone. Komatsu-san is dead, Hamano-san is dead, and Tsukasa-san is not building prints that way. He's building prints by mucking around himself, making them as a single person, carving and printing by himself as an artist, rather than as a designer for a workshop. So the Yoshida tradition is now, it's finished, it's gone.
Why not build a remote-controlled robot? David controls the input blade, and a robot does the movements with a knife in Utah. If only we had the technology. Be better if the robot paints in Tokyo what Jed draws in Utah. Because we have the carvers and printers over here.
And we're not doing so bad. We have our own system now for doing this. I was describing the system that was in place through the 1930s, 40s, and whatever in the Yoshida workshop. The system we have in place is doing pretty good. We are producing some very, very interesting, fabulous prints. Yeah. So it's not a question of we're failing and, oh my God, should we do it the old way? We have our own system now, Jed and I have developed over, 6, 7 years, In the beginning, before we knew what we were doing, he would just totally do everything in Photoshop, and we would sometimes struggle to make it work. Jed now has much more knowledge of how woodblock prints work. And we're doing okay.
Yeah.
We're doing okay. So it's not a negative thing we're talking about here. And years from now, people will look at our system and say, "Oh, look, how did they do that?"
How primitive.
No. How did they manage to do that? How did they get there? Because we explain a lot of this stuff sitting on the stream, but if I don't explain this, here's one of our finished prints. What was the process from Jed designing over there to us carving to people test printing, and there's the print. How did they actually do all that? How did they get it done? Who made those decisions? How was it built?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to figure out any of that stuff.
True.
If you were, 50 years from now, just looking at our finished prints, who did what? How much did Jed do? How much did Dave do? How much did Sugasan do?
Yeah.
You've got just your basic words. Design, Jed Henry. Carving, David Wall. Printing, Sugasan. It's not as linear, it's not as atomic as that. It's not those three things all totally separated.
Yeah. There's lots of back and forth working together.
And what I would really, really like, and the part we are really missing, is having Jed here while we are doing test printing. Because at the end of the day, I've taken his Photoshop thing and built a set of blocks that I think will get us close. But that's all it is. It's just got us close. And honestly speaking, if Jed were here, once we got the blocks on the table and started printing, I think we would diverge much, much more from the Photoshop. I mean, it's not my job to diverge. It's our job to try and replicate the Photoshop. But if Jed were here, then divergence is not a bug. It becomes a feature.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because there's lots more possibilities in the blocks than are just there in that one possible version. And if Jed were here day by day, sitting side by side with Sugasan, joking and chatting around and having lunch and doing this.
Oh, what if you do this?
What if you do this? And she would learn what he wants to do, and she would say, "Hey, Jed, how about we try this?" And he'll say, "Oh, come on, no." And she'll say, "Just sit down, let me try this." And he'd say, "Oh, holy crap, look at that."
Yeah.
It would work both ways. And that's what happened with Hasui and Ono-san. And we have those diaries. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
There's a book published. I've got a copy of it in Ome. It's Hasui's diaries from the main years when he was working with Watanabe, building some of those prints. And there's some fun stuff. It'll say like Monday morning off to Watanabe to work with Ono-san on proofing print number such and such.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday it just says ditto marks. Wednesday it says ditto marks. And then on Thursday it says something else. So they've gone day after day after day. Hasui has gone back and sat in that workshop right next to Ono-san, day after day after day for 3, 4, 5 days in a row, working on this proofing. So it means there's been new ideas and new stuff coming up. It wasn't just Ono-san taking his watercolor painting and then replicating it. Those guys, once the blocks were finished, then set out to use those blocks to create a new interesting image.
Yeah.
And that's the part that we are missing. Because for us, once the blocks are ready, we just now use those to replicate that Photoshop sample. So there's room in future years for us to really, really, really move this up a level. There's no rush. We're doing okay right now. We're making wonderful, interesting prints. But we're not. This is not the end of the game. There's lots and lots of room.
What's the status on the wooden storage boxes? Actually, Aoyama-san called them yesterday, called the craftspeople.
What is the status? What's happening?
Said that because the craftsman got sick for a while, all his orders were pushed back a bit, but they're working on ours now. So he worked on the other boxes.
So it means what? When are we going to deliver?
It's still left vague, unfortunately.
But a week, a month, a year? Well, what's...
No, I think within the next couple of weeks. Okay. But so the March invoice is what we expect to put them on.
You're talking about this year's subscription
series?
Yeah,
for this year's subscription series.
Actually, Cameron-san, I have to ask your favor for a minute here. So, this is a bit unusual for me. I started carving here earlier this morning. I usually start carving pretty much just at stream time.
Right.
But today I got up early, did the laundry, had a shower, whatever, came down here, and I actually started carving around 7. So I've been at this for a couple of hours. I got to take a bathroom break.
Okay.
Can you occupy these people? Well, I can last about 2 hours, and I'm at my 2-hour limit.
Got it. Yep, it's 9:02.
So good luck. Take care.
Okay. Yes, imagine how easy it would be for an enthusiastic carver to learn just by watching the streams alone. That's what many do already. Indeed, there's a cool group. Can someone share it for us? A great group of people making prints on their own and learning from either these streams or ebooks or it's an online encyclopedia too that Dave's made. He's got all sorts of resources available online. Photo album to store Shiba-san's prints. I don't think I can help you from here in Japan. I hope someone else has an idea. Different size storage boxes, just made for subscription prints. We have a smaller box also for those prints, the ones on the wall that are postcard size. They are, was it 10 by 15 centimeters, I think? I don't think we have any of the boxes here in the shop right next to me, but we do have little stands where you can put one on at a time, but we don't have any large ones for prints like Shiba-san's. We just have smaller boxes for the subscription series and for the Hanga Club series.
Asking me that. Something else to warm up there. This was yesterday's auction stuff, so hopefully not just a bathroom break, but let's have a look at this.
Oh, I found one. We do have the box for the Hanga Club series.
Yeah.
Show and tell.
Yeah, a bit of show and tell. Let's do this. I forgot about this actually when I went to the bathroom. I saw the folder sitting there. This came in yesterday.
Oh.
How do we do this? This has got to move around there.
Okay.
Actually, maybe we can do it this way. I'll put it there. That should do it. Okay. Good. Okay, let me zoom out. This is from auction yesterday. I'm just in an open Yahoo auction, and I don't know what it is. I don't know who made it. I don't know who designed it. I don't know anything about it, and nobody else did either. I know the guy who put up the auction didn't know what it was, and he just said, "Whatever."
Did he even call it a woodblock print?
No, it's woodblock. He knows woodblock.
Okay, so he
print.
knew it was a woodblock.
In fact, he labeled it Hasui question mark.
Hasui?
Yoshida question mark. No, it's not. It's on. It looks to be a print here. Let me just get it down here and talk about it. It is big.
That's really long.
All right. And it's Meiji era, late Meiji, and it looks like Nishinomiya style stuff. Nishinomiya was a publisher there. They did those Chirimenbon, those crepe paper books and stuff like that.
Okay.
And this is very much in the Nishinomiya style. And it's a woodblock print. Clearly made woodblock print, and it's printed on paper the wrong way. The grain of the paper goes this way. Which means when you rub, the paper stretches too much this side. So this would be crazy to print. And can you read this, Kamitan? There seems to be something. All I see is 4 blurs.
That's all I'm seeing from this distance.
So we're going to get this under the microscope. And it may just be something water blobs or something. I don't know. I can find no name, no ID, no signature, no nothing. And it's a generic thing. We don't even need to have an artist's name. Hasegawa had people in his workshop that were capable. He might just say, look, give me a moon and a couple of sailing boats and let's go with it. And one of the kids there would just slap together a couple of sailing boats and a moon and a mountain and let's go with it. So there's no signatures or seal, and there may even be no artist per se. But it is so nicely made, so deep, rich colors. The gradations are so beautiful, the way it fades out. It's just classic crap. It's geese in front of a moon with Mount Fuji and sailing boats. Give me a break. It doesn't get any more cliche than this. But there it is. We got some shadows here. Let's see if I get this out of the way. Is that a bit better? Get this out of the way for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There we go. So break my.
How about I just hold it?
And bidding went up and up and up because a couple things. One is it's large, one it's beautifully made, and it is a nice woodblock print. And if we were going to sell this in the shop, we are not. I'm going to hang on to this. But if we were going to sell this in the shop, it could go for quite a nice sum because it's a beautiful, spectacular thing. We've still got a shadow on the thing there. Whatever. Can I zoom in? Let's look at some of the detail on it.
All art becomes cliche with repeated success. If we like it, we like it. That's legit.
I guess so, yeah. So whatever. It's all a viewpoint. I said cliche there. Half of me is being sarcastic, and half of me is saying it's beautiful. Whatever.
Yeah.
When we do this, we sell lots of snow on the temple roof prints right there. The one I'm looking at, Husky, just over your shoulder.
Yeah. Yep.
It's snow on a temple roof, built in 1932 or whatever, when no wires and stuff. Whatever. We've talked about this before. It's still a beautiful object. It's not being seen here in the best light. What if I try and hold that light?
Okay. Does it go any lower?
I might be able to get a better view here. So yeah, that's a bit of a better light for it. Isn't it? I wonder if you can see the texture of the paper. And we have. I don't know where I am. Sorry. Here we are. There we are. Good. And it's really simple in concept, but it's very complex in execution to get this all to work well. So anyway, I bet I wasn't the only one that bid. They went up. I think I paid 16,000 yen, or $160 for it. I don't know. And I have no idea what it is, who made it, or who designed it. But it's just a beautiful object. It clearly dates back about, it's Meiji 30 or Meiji 40, somewhere around there.
So, you said the paper would stretch too much when printed this way.
Yeah.
Do you see any artifacts of that, or
well, yes and no. I mean,
really
this isn't a print made with delicate outlines and things fitting in the outline. So this boat, it's here. If it turned out that boat turned out to be a bit off to the side or something, it wouldn't matter. And we can maybe see that here. You see it here? There's a bit of white showing. Yeah. So this boat, and there's a bit of overlap on this side. Yeah. See it? The water and the sail are overlapping a bit. So it does show evidence of a little bit of misregistration. Slight misregistration problems in the long dimension of this thing. And if we were going to make this print now, I guess there was no way we would ever use paper cut this way. We would use paper cut in the long dimension. And why they didn't do that, I have no idea. Is this a test version or something, or they just didn't care, or it's because this design, it didn't really matter with this design. Where those birds came, if they'd been a millimeter right or a millimeter left, it wouldn't have mattered at all. It doesn't matter. The only place is right there, where the background is a little bit into that sail, and the background here is tiny bit shy of that sail. That shows me that paper stretch is about 1 millimeter. It's the same thing on the mountain actually too. You can see here too. There's a bit of overlap from the sky here and far less overlap on that side. So yeah, the print does show slight misregistration. Left to right, does it matter? Not at all.
Yeah. Someone is observing the water between the boats is similarly drawn to the water on the lady in the bath print that you carved from start to finish.
What can I say? Well, it's the way you do water. Yeah. I mean, I don't know really. If you look at all the Shinhaga prints, the way that whenever there's a moon or a sun and how the water is reflected in it, it's pretty much
standardized.
Yeah, just wiggle,
Yeah.
And then you've got objects that are quite dark in front of a part that's quite light, giving you your depth, So. It's cliched, but it's beautiful. It just strikes us as a beautiful object. So, so there we are. We've added it to our collection. It'll make part of a nice display one day. Artist totally unknown, but it sure ain't Hasui.
Yeah. Hasui? Question mark?
I think what he was trying to say was, sort of Shinhaga, something like that.
So. Oh, he's trying to get people to find his auction.
Yeah, I guess so. Or he himself didn't know. Then maybe take over there and throw it out of the safest way. Then this is interesting. These are not old prints from Meiji time at all. This is this is Heisei 23. What's Heisei 23?
7 years ago? No, 8.
No.
Word?
8 years ago.
8 years. Yeah, 7, 8 years ago. Whatever year.
And this is Sekioku-san's workshop. Sekioku-san is alive. He's kicking. He's one of the carvers here, still in town. And this is almost contemporary.
Yeah.
Senshafta, on that video I made the other day, we talked about the Senshafta groups. They are still staggering along, some of them. They're still surviving. And whenever they get enough of a project or some money together, and this must have been a project, I know nothing about the background, all I know is that the prints are here. It must have been a person or a group who got together with the idea of let's make a bit of a quasi-religious print. And this is a Kanon-san.
Oh, okay.
I know, Buddhist, I know, not a deity, right? Well, I don't know the right, I'm going to get in trouble.
Bodhisattva, is that the right term?
Pardon?
Is it a bodhisattva?
We're in the territory now that I have no idea of. I don't know. Anybody knows more about this than I do. So it was a set of Senshafta. This may be the whole set or not. I don't know. What we have here are, we've got something else. It's the title, description, explaining what this set was about, or semi-colophon type thing. And I can't read it all, but it's Heisei 23, and it's got the date, names, a couple of sponsors, the designer's name. It's got the carver and printing workshop. It's Sekioku-san printing workshop. There's the name of the group. Nanitodo something Senshafta Kai. The name of the group, the Senshafta Collectors Group. Tokyo something Senshafta Group. Doi-san would know. I should have waited till Doi-san got here to show you about this. So Senshafta are still, oh, wait, we got this. No. And these are the sponsors, the people who sponsored this thing. We have 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, and in 4 pages, these are the people who sponsored. This is something else. This is different.
And most of the money went toward writing their name down.
Because in the old days, these 4 sheets would have been carved on blocks and printed, but I will bet everything I own that these 4 sheets are made from jushiban, from polymer plates. Somebody did the calligraphy. They hired a calligrapher to put all the names in place.
Right.
Then made a polymer plate and run it off. And I know this because this is what Kawai-san has spent his last 2 weeks printing upstairs for the project. So this part of it would be woodblock. The pattern would be woodblock. The border lines are probably polymer plates, and all the names in the middle are polymer plates. So we have how many hundreds? I don't know. 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 by 8. We know that's 160 times 4 is 520. No, 620. Do the multiplication count. So that's how many people 640 sponsored this project. And that was the sponsors. Let's get them out of the way. And what did they sponsor? There is, again, I don't know if this is the whole set. This is a Senshafta. You see the border lines in the shape of a Senshafta print, but they've made it 4 up. It's what's called a yoncho. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a print in the shape of 4 Senshafta. And just quickly to dump on the table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. And again, I'm sorry, I don't know what these are. These are a group of
Did say, Kanon is a bodhisattva.
But we have a bunch, we have 4 different people, and they have names. And this is Kanon, the show. So it's something Kanon, another Kanon. So it's not the same person or deity, or 4 different ones. I'm sorry, we're in territory that I know nothing about. And we've got, there's a seal replicated here, which would be the artist's seal, and they all have the same seal. So it's the same artist doing 4 of these things. And these are quite nicely made, considering the Sekioku workshop stuff I've seen from them, the one that Doi-san got from them just a couple of months ago. Oh my God, these are fine. I have no complaint about this. The paper is crap paper. This is not Ichisen Hosho paper. They've used a cheap masa paper. But the carving is tasteful, and the printing is tasteful. I have nothing bad to say about this at all. And I would have been surprised if you'd asked me, looking at the quality, what date these would have been produced. I'd have said, you got to go back around 20 years or so to find stuff like this. And to see that with
less than 10 years ago.
Yes, I'm very, very happy. And I will reevaluate my thoughts on what that workshop is capable of. And I will try and shut up a little bit more about it, because I've been a bit too cynical and critical of it. These are quite nicely done. It's just, if only they had used a nicer paper, a nicer paper. This paper, this masa paper, expands and shrinks so terribly. They've had trouble with the registration here. And I tell you, it's because of the paper. It's not that this was really careless craftsmanship. Look at this, the blue comes in. And almost certainly the block is carved correctly, but the paper shrinks and expands so terribly. So terribly.
You don't think it was a stylistic choice having the outline kind of
maybe whatever?
wavy,
I don't know. All I'm trying to be friendly here and saying I'm not going to point my finger and say, look at this mess. Why didn't you do a better job? Because they were struggling with very, very terrible paper. The next one has a full clean one, so I don't think you're right. Okay. I think that's it could be careless carving, but given this paper quality, I'm not going to shoot at the guys. Do we need to zoom in? Can we zoom in? How close can we go here?
Yeah, the colors look much more vivid in real life than they are.
Yeah, they're a bit washed out, so
on the screen they're a bit washed.
But again, also that's part of the paper. They would look much better if this had been on real Hochschul paper. So we scroll up the length of the body here. I'm really quite happy with this. And again, it's caused me to re-evaluate what I'm going to say about the carvers and printers working in some of those other workshops these days, or at least anyway 8-10 years ago.
Standing on that lotus.
Yeah, it's all standard Buddhist iconography. Again, I know absolutely nothing about what we're looking at here. There's a lotus thing. And whether this is the same person or whether this is 4 of these different goddesses, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Cyrus Golad asks, does anyone know of any Japanese prints made in an Art Deco style? I know there was a late Art Deco period in Japan and other art forms. Any prints made with an appearance?
Yes, some, not a lot. I know the era when that was happening was the era when Shin hunger was eating everything, and it was all snow on the temple roof and Hasui and Yoshida and stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff, and you don't see it much here in the shop because I myself don't buy those prints. If you look up Takehisa Yumeji, Yumeggy, he was a designer in that period, and a bunch of his stuff is close to or related to, influenced by, and I'm not quite sure, Art Deco / Art Nouveau. I myself don't know the nuances of the different things here.
What was his name?
Takehisa Yumeji, Yumeji.
Okay. Takehisa?
Takehisa or Takahisa? I don't like it myself. I don't at all like it, so I never buy that stuff. I don't look at it. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's my personal preferences are sort of influencing our business to an extent here. Anyway, a bunch of the stuff he did was closely related to, and again, I'm not quite sure, Art Deco / Art Nouveau. I don't know how to explain the difference between those two things. So, and long answer to a very simple short question. Yes, there was some work done in this. Hi, well, thank you. And this auction, Karen said, for these 4 prints and all the other stuff associated with it, was 1,600 yen. Nobody was interested. Nobody wanted it. So I'm very happy to get this. Again, these are not something we will be selling in our shop. They just go into our collection to help us explain them. And this was omake. The guy threw in this stuff, and what this is it's an extra. The guy just threw it in. These are woodblock printed. It's this is terrible paper. This is contemporary stuff too. This is
wrapping.
Chiyogami. It's printing paper not designed to be made as wrapping paper as a piece. It's sheets of different designs intended for young ladies who are making a little gift box and cutting it up and gluing the paper on the outside, or folding it to make a Japanese doll or something like that. The guy just threw it in and said, here's a couple of sheets of free. And these are absolute contemporary productions. The old stuff from the Meiji time is really, really nice. This is just a bit of nothing. Anyway, there you have it.
It was free.
And we had all those names. Some of them are the person's real name. These are the kind of when I did that video last week, I talked about the Saint Shafada groups, the people who gathered together. They still exist, and they're still struggling to produce stuff. Let's put this away. Do I have time to get back and do a bit more carving?
9:21. What do you think?
9:21. Whatever. Let's put the knife back in the wood just to say hello to it. So I'm going to keep going today. It's Wednesday. We have good, strong staff. It's Shiba-san and Audrey-san as staff today who are capable. There's only one print party scheduled today. So my plan is to sit right here at this bench and keep carving I'll get a cup of coffee in a minute and then when that other auction package arrives, we'll sort of have to save that for tomorrow. Obviously, it's not going to come before we finish this. I shouldn't even tease about it, but there's an auction package coming today. It's one of the ones that I described the other day. But the people who put it up didn't have a clue what they were putting up, and they didn't use normal keywords.
Right keywords.
It wasn't described as woodblock prints. The guy didn't have a clue what he got, and with my super sleuthing ability to turn up interesting stuff on these auctions, I found it. Nobody else found it. It went for the opening price of like $10, and they are whatever. We'll talk about it tomorrow because they're going to be here in a few minutes. And
Yeah.
I'm going to spend some hours gloating over them myself, and we'll look at them tomorrow. This is not Sotheby's level of value. They don't really have that much value. They may be worth a few $100 each, but it's not the money. They're just rare to see these things. Whatever, I would talk about it tomorrow. I can't remember myself. They're original Sudimono. Sudimono was a genre back in the 1830s, 40s, 50s. People commissioned prints to exchange with other groups and stuff like that. Yeah. Similar to sort of in concept that Senshaft that we just saw right now. But these are original Edo, late Edo, early Meiji Sudimono. And I got 3 of them yesterday for 1,000 yen each. And they should be arriving any minute now. And,
very cool. Yeah. You're falling off the edge of the screen
well,
already.
Can you get up there and do that? Easier. Thanks, Council. Key point is right where that finger is. That's the point. Should put that in your area there. Okay? Thank you, sir. The other day I think we'd been doing some show and tell, and somebody made some comment that Dave has too many prints or something or whatever. And Audrey said, good morning, hello. And yeah, do I have too many prints? At age 67, should I stop buying prints? Maybe, who knows what to say, But, I mean, there's a way to, I'm enjoying life, and I'm using my resources to enjoy life and in a productive way, I think. And from my daughter's point of view, I shouldn't be buying stuff at this stage of life. But I'm not buying this for myself. We're building a collection here, which I think is going to hopefully be preserved and published and used, after I'm gone. Mm-hmm. If this company doesn't survive after I'm gone, then it's all for nothing anyway. But I can't control that. So who cares? Yeah. Who cares? There's guys that spend money on cigarettes, and on girls, on wine and whatever. Or horse racing or whatever. Whatever. And I use a few of my resources, the ones that I don't fritter away by paying salaries and stuff here. I saw too, yes, you emptied the bank accounts again yesterday. Yeah. I saw that, 24 bank transfers.
You've got a lot of people. Do a party. What's that?
All paid up, by the way? All the staff paid, or is it all done? Or?
Still waiting for Suga
okay.
today.
Oh, she's coming in today, okay.
Yeah. But she's the final one.
And Kawasaki-san, is she all cleared up now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good we caught that yesterday.
Yeah, thank you.
That reservation, was that for today?
Nothing showed up here, so I think it might have been that computer just waking up and
okay,
catching up.
Good, okay. Because if there's a 10 o'clock res, then we got to jump on it. But And reservations are now pouring, and this is no exaggeration. Reservations are pouring in for April.
I believe that.
The counters, but I tell you, by the time we're part with you, March, April is going to be booked solid, top to bottom, and it's going to be a real disappointment. A bunch of people who are coming here for choice season, let's go to Dave's workshop to do a print party, and they're going to access the page, and it's going to be sold out, top to bottom. And I'm not sure what to do. Should we be advertising this? Should we put out a mailer? People, if you're thinking of coming to Japan, book now.
Yeah.
Or should we just keep quiet and sit on it? I don't know what to do.
Either way, it'll be full.
So,
Jed asks, have you started charging for reservations yet?
No, and I have to make a decision on that real soon now. So, because we're going to get, it's booking up now, but there's going to be tons of cancellations, and there will be cancellations on the day. So we should publicize that. Even though the calendar is booked out, please be aware there are frequent cancellations
day of.
The day of. So please check back don't give up. Please check back in the week up running and in the day up running and even 15 minutes before the party. Literally, because that happens too. There are no shows.
Yeah. Well, but we usually don't take them out. If they don't show up, then it's a half hour after the print party would have started.
No, I can't do that. But you know,
If they don't come.
if you want to sit here and hang around the shop at 10 o'clock Tuesday morning, hoping that 10 o'clock print party people don't come, you do that often enough and you're going to hit jackpot. So
Yeah. Right, Loch 99. I was sure David already decided.
yeah, okay. I got to implement it. Actually, I've got to build it. Right, look, I haven't seen that name in the thread for a while here.
Yeah.
In the chats. Audrey-san, what we should do this morning, I haven't had the heater on. I didn't turn it on yesterday and haven't turned it on this morning. But the place has been closed up now for a couple of days since Monday. So what we should do is we should open the doors, I think, both ends. Let's air the place out a little bit before we start turning on the heater and stuff. What do you think? Should...
Your stream, maybe? You're okay now?
Well, we're going to close in a couple of minutes, so it's okay. It's up to you. But let's air the place out. I'm sure it's stuffy. I can't tell because I've been in here, for 2 days now.
Yeah. Jen says, sorry for all the squiggly lines.
No, that's life, whatever. We're going to have a nice print.
Yeah.
This is going to be a nice print, This is also going to be one of the ones, some of the prints we make this year and other years, they look more similar to the Photoshop version. This is one that I think is going to perhaps look fairly different, because I don't know if Jeb was here when we were talking about it earlier in the stream. We are definitely going to try printing this with not flat colors. We're going to try a Yoshida version of this with goma zuri and textured color. That cherry blossom, it's in a gloom, it's in nighttime. Pop it up again. Let's have a look at the original there. This is not ukiyo-e. This is a textured, gloomy nighttime view of cherry blossoms. And it should be gloomy and a bit difficult to what's in that cloud there. Can I see this,
Yeah.
Even Jed tried this. He put it, you can see it in that sample. There's a vignette around the outside. He's called for a gradation to come in from the four corners and stuff like that. So it's going to be a gloomy, bit vague print. Yeah. So absolutely, Suga-san and I are going to sit down and try a version with goma zuri. We're going to do textured printing to see what it looks like. And then we'll call Jed, we'll send scans and samples and get him involved in the process. So it's possible that this one might be quite dramatically different from what you see here on the screen. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one. I like it. I'm very happy that it came to me to be able to carve this one. That wasn't the plan.
Right. I submit to the wisdom of the master.
No, it's not the phrase. We're gonna play with. We talked about it earlier in the stream. The Hasui working with Ono-san the printer together to toss some ideas back and forth and play with it. It's nothing to do with master and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Let's play with some ideas together. Designer and printer. The carver here is just following the designer's instructions, getting the block sets made. But the printer is going to be the key here. Yeah. And Suga-san recently, she hasn't been so happy about some of the work. There's been a couple of things that have gone wrong with her work in the past few weeks. So she at the moment is not on a high. And I'd love to sit down with her and do some fun test printing on this and have her help create the next print. Because at the moment she needs a bit of a boost.
Cordian Gummy asks, what's the printing technique to achieve goma zuri?
I mean, how do you do it? There's many, many ways to do it. Just to make it a lighter, weaker baron. Normally to print tsubushi, to print a strong line, what you do is you rub with a strong baron that actually leaves lines, and you make so many lines that the lines make up a flat, smooth surface. So if you use a baron like that and don't continue, you just do a little bit of chop, that's all you get, is you get a flat model surface. Another way is to use thick paper and a weaker pressure. Another way is to keep the block surface wet, much more water on the surface of the block. Normally it's a balance between water and paste and pigment that gives us that smooth, creamy paste that makes a good tsubushi. If there's too much water, that balance is destroyed and it comes up much more watery. So there's lots and lots of ways. Yoshidas, they used to use a thing they called a sandpaper baron. And what they did was they would get a normal baron, open it up for retying the skin, and put a piece of sandpaper, like 60 grit sandpaper, on top of the coil, face up. Then retie the barren. So when you're rubbing your barren on, what you're rubbing is the coil is no longer palpable, but it's the 60 grit sandpaper inside the skin, which is acting as it. And you can't put pressure on with it. So you just go blah, 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 back and forth. And what comes up? Gomazuri. There's lots of ways to do it. We normally fight it. We don't want goma. We fight day after day after day to make sure there's no gomazuri in our prints because it wasn't an ukiyo-e technique.
Right.
But moving to the 20th century, the Yoshidas, for example, away you go. Their prints are full of gomazuri. They're based on gomazuri. So we'll try it on this one. It may look ugly. I don't know. I'm not saying we'll do it. We're just going to try it. Jed might say, oh my God, I'm not going to put my name on that. Or he might say, thanks, guys. I don't know. We'll see.
Someone asked Jed, are you ever trying to make designs that you know will be hard to carve just to mess with Dave? But Jed said, sometimes I'll be designing something and think, sorry, Dave. So he's not trying to make trouble, but he knows sometimes he does, I guess.
It's so cool having it work this way, you know, because honestly speaking, most woodblock carvers, certainly within the 20th century, have never had this situation where they're carving living work. They've just been carving replications of Hokusai, Hokusai, all through the 20th century.
Yeah.
So what they're doing, they're carving something that was, they're copying a carver. I don't copy a carver, I copy a designer. Jed drew these things. And most carvers these days, within my lifetime and the generations before, Asuka Sensei, my friend the carver, he almost never, ever, ever in his life has ever carved anything drawn by an artist. All he's carving is replicating the carver's work from 2 generations before him.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that we're doing this. I'm a real woodblock carver, carving the lines created by a designer, trying to find a balance between what he put on paper and what we can do as a woodblock print. You know?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Revelation. That's Shiba-san. Or no, Suga-san, heading upstairs.
Yeah. Could be either one. Yeah, you don't have to get Skype arguments with Hokusai when you do his reproductions.
But remember also, they're not carving Hokusai's lines. They're carving the lines that some other carver cut based on Hokusai's design. It's a big difference, you know. The replication people, the one when I made my Great Wave, I didn't copy Hokusai's lines. I copied what some long ago dead carver carved after looking at Hokusai's lines. It's a big difference. Ito-san, the guy who, you know, helped me a little bit, we've heard about in my videos, probably in his life, he probably never had the experience of doing what I'm doing right now. Cutting an original ukiyo-e print based on some designer's lines, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Must be getting time to wrap this up, right, Cameron? Somewhere around there? I would like to go get a cup of coffee.
Okay.
We can make our announcement. Today is Wednesday. We'll be back here Thursday. I should also start to make sure people understand, starting Monday will be the last stream for a couple of weeks. We will be off for 2 weeks. Monday stream will be the last. There will be no Tuesday stream as normal, and I will be jumping on an airplane to go and spend time with my mother, daughters, and grandchildren over in Vancouver. I'll be gone for 12, 13 days. So basically for 2 weeks there will be no streams. Next Monday will be the last stream. We've teased about this. I'm going to take my camera with me, and maybe at one point at my daughter's house or something, we'll pop up one morning at the same time, just as, you know, but I won't be carving or printing or something, just to say hello to our fans or something, I don't know.
Cool.
So more about that. We'll be back here tomorrow, Friday. No, tomorrow, Thursday. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There will be 5 more streams before the gap. And among those 5 streams, there's going to be 1 and maybe 2 that will be sizing streams, because I've got to catch up on that before I head out.
Yeah.
Okay, camera time. Sign us off. that post office package didn't come. It's okay. We can save it for tomorrow. It's okay. Come back tomorrow to see those.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.